you're going to continue farming, but not in Washington. Explain
Yes.
why.
Well, I guess there's a very simple reason, and that's being priced out.
And they don't care whether you make money or not, because we don't get to dictate how much we want for those apples.
Yeah.
We harvest the apples, we send them to the warehouse, they store them, they sell them.
Yeah.
They get their cost out of it, and they send us whatever's left.
So you can't say, well, my costs have gone up, my
No.
labor costs more because minimum wage is up,
Overtime or whatever.
overtime, all these things.
No.
And then say, so sorry, it's going to be $30 or $40.
No, we don't
can't-
get to say that.
What happens if you do? They just say, sorry.
They say, well, we'll go to this guy, he'll sell it for this much.
Farming is a very challenging business to be in because you're price takers, not price makers. And as a result, your margins are extremely small. Oftentimes, a lot of these smaller farmers, not only do they have difficulties with the economics of farming as the margins continue to get more and more difficult, but they also have to deal with regulatory issues, policies that, while oftentimes are well-intended, cause a lot more difficulty and challenges for them to actually be able to survive. Things like labor, water quality, water quantity, a lot of these things, a larger farm might be able to navigate a little bit better because they just have more resources to be able to deal with some of these regulatory challenges that come up. Therefore, they have an advantage over these small farms. It's not necessarily an intended one, and it certainly isn't intended by these well-meaning policies, but that's the reality of what we face.
Today, for me, the H2A this year is making 25 or 30 cents an hour, whatever that is. If we pay overtime, that increases almost $10 an hour.
Yep.
And we're losing money on what we produce. So how do you pay $10 more an hour?
You don't?
You can't.
Labor's is upwards of 80% of our budget. And
80% of your budget.
80%. And unfortunately, we used to provide health care. We don't anymore either. We cut that 5 years ago trying to save costs. And now we've gotten to the point where, with the overtime being what it is at 40 hours, combine that with the new annual rate of $19.25 an hour, we can't afford it. And that's the thing. If we can't get the fruit off the tree into the shed, how are we going to make money? So we made the decision that we can't afford it anymore.
With costs rising far faster than the prices paid, smaller and even medium-sized farmers face a difficult choice: grow much larger or sell out.
It's been expensive. And that was one of the reasons, is we didn't have the extra.
Margins were,
Yes,
they were
every year.
maxed out.
For example, our fertilizer, would it have been 2021, was $150,000, and last year it was $300,000. The fuel, last year for July was $56,000, and the year before was $12,000. My payroll went up 30 to 40%, and that is all money that was staying in this county that is gone.
Oh, I don't know what the future of this farm is. I really don't. Again, it's a business with a very thin margin, and it's getting thinner. So I don't know. I honestly don't see farming thriving in my area for too much longer. I don't see the future for my kids here, unfortunately.
Financially, it hasn't always been easy. We had hoped we could expand. We have children who had wanted to farm. But it's been a struggle at times for just Pete and I. And so to enlarge and be able to incorporate your kids and their families, just that financially wasn't able, we weren't able to do that.
There's a lot of investors coming into the big places right now, and they'll be able to keep the big farms afloat, but nobody's going to keep the family farms afloat. The family farms going to disappear.